Hello and welcome to a very quick review, because the book is a very quick read. That being Hansel and Gretel, Stephen King style. Now, you will know from when this channel first started, I like diving into the original Grimm fairy tales. Any fairy tales, but it's mostly the Grimm ones. They are usually the darkest and the most unhinged, for want of a better word. You can find my dive into Hansel and Gretel linked up there and in the description below, because unlike some other fairy tales, it was inspired by real life events. And you really don't want a Grimm fairy tale and inspired by real events kind of in the same sentence, especially when they're this infamous. So it is a very, very quick read. The artwork is everything that you would want. It's big, it's beautiful, and it is illustrated all the way through. Now, how does it compare to the original tale? Now, I thought there would be more of a, I want to say a horror spin, but really you can't get more horrific than the original one. So, before I read this one, because I wanted to write down all of the differences that I expected there to be, I read through the original fairy tale again. And I think I wrote down 4 differences. That's it, only 4. Now, in reading through it, instead of it being a woodcutter, he's got it as a broom maker. Instead of children, he writes it as kids, which I assume is because American. But other than that, there isn't much difference between the two. You can tell, especially when you read the original and then this one straight after each other, you can tell where it's been Stephen King'd up. His way of writing is almost lyrical, and you get that in this. There's bits added in to really kind of flesh it out without it being too much. Now, if you're planning on reading this, there is, I don't want to spoil it, because in an indirect way, this ties in, or at least is hovering around the borders of the main King multiverse, because one of the characters in this appears in this, The Dark Tower. And when I saw it written, I was like, wait, is that? And I had to go check. I had to pull the book out and I had to go check, because I was like, he didn't, did he? He did. He did. Oh my God, he did. But yeah, this is an enjoyable read. Can children read it? Yeah, it's no more horrific than the original tales and pulls no punches like the original ones. You get as detailed a description of what goes on in this, just like you do in the original. It pulls no punches, it is horrific, and rightly so considering what it is. It continues to be one of the most horrific fairy tales, and to say that the master of horror didn't have to do much, if anything, to make it more horrific than it actually was, is saying something about how horrific it actually was. In later incarnations, it has been, let's say, softened a bit for a child audience. But remember, the Grimm fairy tales, at least the first iteration of them, were not meant for children. They weren't written for children. They were written for adults to read. And it was only when parents started complaining that children were reading them that in the second volume they started toning it down a bit. Children like to be horrified. And that is why this tale holds a fascination in the collective conscious, because Hansel and Gretel You know what it's about. Two children cast out by their evil stepmother and lost in the woods, come upon this cottage of gingerbread or sweets or whatever the hell you want to call it. There's some horrific pictures in here, I might add. And there's a witch in it, and she imprisons them, and she wants to cook and eat them. That's basically a very, very basic outline. The original gets kingified in here, and the allusion to the Dark Tower multiverse is just perfection. So yeah, if you are a Stephen King fan, this is a must buy. If you're not and you just like, you know, a good fairy tale, I'd give it a price drop as well. It's bigger than I thought it would be, to be honest. I thought it would be a little smaller because this is quite big. But yeah, well worth it. So much fun to read. Quick 10-15 minutes. That's all it takes. And yeah, very happy with this. Love the callback. Happy. So if you have read this, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And as always, keep reading.
The moonlight soft embrace